would be a fun card. Just because I really like the Z-Fold, which is what this guy is. It's just half a sheet of paper, scored in half, so into quarters, and then you can just fold the cover, the front all the way over and line it up on the edge here, but I kind of like it when there's a little exposed paper here because I sort of like how it's a third, and a third. But this is a really pretty straightforward card to make, and most of it's going to be spent on the focal point. But let's just get some ink blending down, and I will talk to you a little bit about how the rest of this goes together. I'm going to grab some blue for the sky. This is just a arch dye that I had in my stash that I've been really like using in projects lately. Thing about whoops, oh, I think that'll be fine. Thing about the arch dyes is that, see what a nice blend we got. I think they add a little more character than just cutting a square panel, but you could certainly do either. What we're going to wind up doing is putting ephemera on here. So I'm not too worried about this oopsie, and I'm going to use brown on the base here. So that will likely cover up any blue. I just want to sort of get a ground down, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing. There we are. And if we could always recut this or do other things to cover up the blue if it's an issue. But what I did is I grabbed this really bold ephemera from the Cowgirl Up pack. I thought this would be good. I want to pop it up a little bit, I think, rather than leaving it flat, but this is sort of what we're going to do for our focal piece. Then I cut a larger arch to sort of mat under this, like this. And then this whole thing will just mount here. I want to use a slightly darker brown just so you could like see the arch. Well, this is a little hard to tell, but essentially it'll look like this when we are done. There's another option for this card base too, where you can't actually cut this panel off. That will remove some of the bulk, but once this stands up, the Z mechanism, or sorry, the Z fold, which this is actually named for, will help the card stand up nicely on the mantle. So let's just furnish this to make our lives a little bit easier. And because you see the card base, I cut an 1.5 inch wide piece of this pattern paper. This is also from Cowgirl Up. And then on this side, I did a similar thing, but this one's a little bit wider. This is 2.5 inches. And I really like sort of this faux pink tree kind of paper. I thought that would look good with sort of our browns and tans color palette. And if you don't like the look of sort of the top and bottom here around the arch, you could simply cut this panel off, or you could like sort of fussy cut around the arch, or just remove enough of this and then glue sort of you could just cut down too, and then as long as there's enough of a flap left to hold the arch on, you could do that. But I think we're going to leave it intact today. So let me just grab some glue so that we can start getting things down. If you didn't want to actually ink blend a background, the other pad of paper from the box of the month has some pretty awesome scene papers in it. We actually used one of them for the Hop of the Month project, so feel free to check that out. And let me just grab that so you can see what this looks like. So it's this paper. Um, and it comes in a night version as well. So depending on the scene you're going for, you could use that. And then we actually have three. We have this one that's done in pattern paper. And then for the inside, we also have um, similar sized pieces cut out, or I should say the same size piece, only cut out of cardstock. Because I kind of find it hard to write on craft personally. If you like the craft look, you don't need to actually do anything there. So there we go. So that's kind of how that looks. And then while we're at it, we might as well do the inside too. I also grabbed an extra piece of ephemera because I think it's always nice when you have a little sort of hidden thing on your standard card panel. Because this is only 2.5 inches, I'm just going to just butt this up and then line it up here. This way. But because this is only 2.5 inches, this doesn't give you a ton of room to write. So I feel like with these kinds of cards, like actually adding a second panel is kind of helpful, just because you can write a longer message. And typically I'll leave the actual sentiments off my cards until I send them because um, I don't know. I'm never quite sure what I'm going to send which card is which. So that's hidden and then it shows up. And I think we're going to put, while we're here, let's see. I like it down in the right-hand corner because you're going to definitely see it when you open. So I think I'll put it there. You could also hide it over here as well if you like that look better. Like most of card making, this is, of course, your art project. So you can do whatever you'd like. I kind of like the hat sort of on the side like this. Obviously, you can also position that more vertically. So basically, our base is done. So now all we need to do is put together our focal point. And I'm just using glue to do all this. You can also do this with double-sided tape if you prefer that. So I'm just going to line this up within sort of the stitched borders. And you can also might leave this flat today. I'll often tend to pop things up, but I think I kind of like it flat just because it has the white outline, so I feel like it's pretty separate from the background already. Then we'll just put that in. I really like how the this light brown that we're using, or it's a little darker than a cream. It might be not quite brown, but I like how it's muted the ink and made it look much more like sky-like. The real color looks on white looks much more like that, so it looks more of a vibrant blue. But since we're using a lot of muted colors in this particular composition, I think that it looks much better that way. And then all we really have to do is glue this guy down. It's usually easier to put the glue on the flap as opposed to putting it on your panel, just because this way you'll be sure that you're not going to accidentally glue your card down. I just leave a little space at the top and the bottom so that we can just push this down. And I like it to be pretty centered, but again, this doesn't, it's sort of one of those things that it's as perfect as you want it to be. Um, and if you use a glue that grips quickly, that will help. But once you more or less have this lined up, you should be good to go. And that is our project for today. And I really am liking these boots with the flowers in them. I think it just adds a really interesting touch. And there's just so much detail on this ephemera in this particular release. And the interesting thing is the Desert Dreams ephemera pack actually had like a full panel piece of ephemera that you could use it with this as well. Like if you just you could just back that to make it a little stiffer, and then you could go from there. But that's what we got for you. Let me just bring that up close. You can sort of see all the detail there. And then, of course, this sort of stands up. So if it stands up, you have more of a look like that where you just you see sort of the pink background as well as the boots. So thanks for checking this out. If you're interested in any of the products, links are in the descriptions below as per normal. And I will talk to you guys later.